Hey there, Heather Ho. There's Jeff Taylor Diamond. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey video about the 1973-74 WHA season. We already did the first episode. Now we're doing the second episode. So we're through about a week's worth of games. Looking at everyone, Houston and Los Angeles are the only two teams to have not played in a WHA game yet. So they'll play in the what is different. What is different is 73-74 WHA instead of 72-73. If you're a hanger on, my stuff is that Ottawa moved to Toronto to become the Toronto Toros. In a few years, Toronto would be priced out by Harold Ballard for Maple Leaf Gardens. They had to go to the Varsity Arena. They couldn't make ends meet. They went to Alabama to play WHA hockey. Birmingham Bulls. Chicago, the Chicago Cougars moved from west to east. New Jersey is the new home of the New York Knights. Now it's the New Jersey Knights playing in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and that arena that had a massive dip. Cleveland's still around. Quebec's still around. In the West, Winnipeg's still around. Vancouver got a WH18 via Philadelphia. The Philly Blazers moved to Vancouver. It worked out because Philly's attention now was on the Flyers, and they won the Stanley Cup that year. Houston's still around. Los Angeles still around. Minnesota's still around, and Edmonton. So anyway, we are going to do Houston versus Los Angeles. And yes, this is the season in which Gordie Howe and his two boys, Mark and Marty, move to play. Don McLeod and Russ Gillow are your goalies. Don McLeod, your main guy. Wayne Rutledge, the former King, is your backup. And Ron Graham, who would actually go to the NHL with the Bruins, I think, and have I had a son named John Graham, who was actually a Boston Bruins player. The 74 Sharks have Ian Wilkie in the net, former New York goalie Paul Hoganson, not Crocodile Dundee. And the backup, then Russ Gillow and Jim McLeod. So they had goalies galore. Houston has Gordie Howe, of course, who spent 25 years in the NHL, got bored, and then the WHA came calling. And Gordie says as long as Mark and Marty Howe, his sons, would come with him, he would play. And it worked. Larry Lund around Houston, Frank Hughes, Andre Hintz, Murray Hall, Jim Sherritt, Gord Lobozoil, the former King, Paul Papu, Ted Taylor, John Skella, Don Grierson, Gord Kensinger, Larry Hale, Joe Shura, Gary Williamson, Jack Stanfield, Bill Prentice, and Ed Hoekstra. In the meantime, we have the LA Sharks with Mark Tartuffe, who moved from the Montreal Canadiens down to the WHA with the LA Sharks. So, yeah, he would be a Quebec Nordique, I do believe. But yeah, Tartuffe left there. Gary Fanarusso, good goal scorer, JP LeBlanc, Brian McDonald, Jerry Odrowski, Reg Thomas, Ron Ward, the former star player for the New York Knights, now in Los Angeles. Steve Sutherland, Bart Crashley, former King, Ron Walters, Alton White, still around, Tom Service, Jim Newcamp, Ron Garzubak, Don Gordon, Jerry Simrek, Bill Horton, Ed Hiska. Fred Speck, Jim Watson, still around, Ted McCaskill, and Hal Willis. 3 minutes into the game, jet ski. Oh, let's make a deal with Murray Hall. He scores, Paul Papule and Gordie Howe with the assist. Much later, he's in a chance, but the goalie Gillow's in the zone, auto zone. 5 minutes later, battle in the injury. Last one for Houston for contact. Last minute, no shot by Reg Thomas, and Houston takes the lead 1-0. 4 minutes later, aggression. Pearson. Brian McDonald can't do anything. Now they can Crashley. Another 3 minutes. Houston Skiers. Mark that puck. Mark Howell, his first WHA goal from Murray Hall. And it's 2-0. And Houston Skiers. Well, Mr. Hockey does what he does best from Sheridan Ted Taylor. And he makes it 3-0. Looks like Mr. Hockey is not going anywhere. 2 minutes later, LA takes a chance. Bettarusso. No. 2 minutes later, aggression. Houston, no shot by Lund. And no shot by Sherritt. Houston will take a penalty Scala, but they're up 3-0 through 40 minutes. Tartif and Odrowski. Much later. Ted the Toolman Taylor scores from Mark Howe and Larry Lund to make it 4-1. This team looks good. 5 more minutes. Chance for Alton White. Damn it. Much later. Make it 4-2. Empty net opportunity, nothing. Bobbles in the net from London Hall, and the Houston Aeros beat LA 5-2. And Gordie Howe does decently with 1 goal and 1 assist. But yeah, Taylor scoring 2 goals. But Gordie Howe did his job, and Houston crushed LA into fine wine. On to tomorrow, Chicago, Cleveland. Chicago's already played. They lose to Cleveland, Houston, Edmonton played. New England's already played, right? Minnesota, Toronto is not. No, we did the Torontos. We did the Torontos. Vancouver, Winnipeg. I don't think we did. No, we didn't do Vancouver, Winnipeg. So Vancouver, Winnipeg, which means who have we neglected? Edmonton, we've neglected, and we've also neglected Quebec, I think, right? No, we did. The Fighting Saints we've neglected. So Edmonton and Minnesota will get another 2. We'll get a game. I don't know when they'll play each other. Yeah, so we'll go Vancouver, Winnipeg for this one. And the Blazers 1-1 against the 2-0 Jets. Joe Daly, the man who would take over the WHA goalie duties for the Jets. Ernie Wakely, the former Blues, is the backup. Bill Holden there. Vancouver Blazers, Pete Donnelly, the main guy. George Gardner, the former Canuck goalie, is the number 2. Yves Arbitro and Danny Sullivan, not the IndyCar driver. In that, the Vancouver Blazers have Brian Campbell, former Blackhawk. Danny Lawson, who was good with the Philadelphia Blazers. Of course, Lacroix's gone. Right here. Claude Saint-Sauveur. Don Burgess. Pie McKenzie is in Vancouver. Good old Pie McKenzie. John Mignot. Murray Myers. Ron Plum. Jim Adair. Colin Campbell. Yes, that Colin Campbell. Jim Cardiff. Mark Sherman. Ralph McSween. Dennis Melush. Ed Hatum. Donald Donahue. Dave Hutchinson. Future Leaf. Serge Baudin. Sam Gallagher, Jimmy Jones, future Leaf, Michel Plante, Camille Lapierre, and Sean Chexrow. The Jets have Bobby Hull, the Golden Jet. The only reason why Winnipeg they gave him $1 million and made the WHA credible. Christian Bordelot, Fred Huck, rhymes with Puck, and another iteration. Norm Baudin, Ron Snell, Danny Johnson, Bob Winovich, J.G. Graton, Ad McDonald, Joe Sanusi, known as being the throw-in that big Rangers Bruins trade for Espo. Dan Spring, Larry Horning, Bob Ash, Ted Hargraves, Freeman Asmussen, Doug Russo, Bill Black, Kelly Pratt, Cal Sweetson, Bill Sutherland, Garver Sudo, Kent Stevenson, and Jimmy Hargraves. Here we go. Appearances in the game. Aggression. Winnipeg's going to get hurt by McSween. Can they take advantage? Snell can't do anything. Now can Gretin. 5 more minutes. Chance for Swinson. Double hit. Winnipeg got Hargraves and no score through 20. Okay, for Vancouver Skiers, Papa Power Play Go. Jim Adair, a family Adair. His second from Lawson and Campbell. 1-0 Blazers. A little bit later, Gresham. And it's Wojwodowicz. Puts it there. The skill, Papa Power Play Go. Brian Soup Campbell, his third from Mignot and Hutchinson. Hi. Much later. Aggression. It's Campbell for 2. Papa Go. Golden Jack. Cut. fourth, our friend Huck. What the, you know what? What the, you know what? What the buck? Canucks pie in the sky. McKenzie scores from Brian Campbell. It's now 3-1. 4 minutes later. Mignolo. Much later. Gresham. Sanusi. Power play goal. Saint Sava from Hatum. 4-1, and Joe Daly is pissed. Bill Holden comes in. Because why not? This game's practically over. Holden can't stop Donnelly. Steve Donnelly coming from New York, I think. Penalty, Jim Cardiff and Kelly Pratt. You're not going to miss it, him. Winnipeg, Danny Johnson. And that's it. Vancouver wins 4-1. A nice job by the team. Winnipeg got a hole, but Adair, Campbell, McKenzie, Savour. Campbell's got 2 assists. Edmonton versus Winnipeg. No, Minnesota. Edmonton, Minnesota. When does that schedule go? November the 4th. So we're going to go November the 4th. November the 4th, Edmonton, Minnesota. I'll do that again. Minnesota, Edmonton. So it'll be the Fighting Saints 6-4 against the 5-1-2 Oilers. John Garrett, future goalie for the Hartford Whalers and also for Hockey Night in Canada and the Canucks. Against Jack Norris, the former Blackhawk/Bruin goalie, with Chris Worthy, Ian Wilkie, and Gary Doyle, their backups. Jack Norris. Mike Curran, the main guy for Minnesota, with John Garrett. And there's Jack McCartan, still playing for Minnesota. He's now third string. The guy from the 1960 U.S. Olympic gold medal winning team. The Forgotten Miracle, as they call it. Yeah, John Garrett. Wow. Well, Mike Shaker Welton, former Leaf for the Fighting Saints. Wayne Connolly, former Bruin. George Morrison. Murray Healy. Tad Hampson, the former SEAL. Tad Hampson. Jim Johnson. Mike Atanovich. John Arbor. Bob McMillan, the future Flame. Steve Cardwell. Mike McMahon. Rick Smith. Keith Christensen. Terry Ball. Rob Walton. Gord Gallant. Bill Klatt, Bob Boyd, Dick Paradise, and Blaine Reidman. The Oilers with Ron Climby, Jim Harrison, the assist guy, Al Hamilton, who's number 3, is retired by the Oilers, even though he never played in the AHL for them. Al Hamilton. Ross Perkins, Len Lund. I feel like he was a former Jet. Larry McDonald, who would do decently in the NHL with the Whalers. Or no, he was an Oiler. Sorry. Rusty Plenitude, Tom Gilmore. Brian McKenzie, Bob Moore. Ken Baird, Doug Barry, Bob McNeely, Phil Fontaine, Mr. Clean, Eddie Joyle, former King, Bob Falkenberg, Steve Carlisle, Ron Anderson, Jim McCrimmon, Bob Fitchner, Roger Cote, and Jim Schreifel. 3 minutes into the game. Transfer Minnesota skill. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shaker Walton. Shaker Walton. His ninth from Morrison. 1 minute later. Minnesota skills. Stevie Cardwell finally scores a goal. It's 2-0 from Walton and Hampson. Mike Walton looking good. Hi, Mike. Patty 8 from Lund and Harrison. 3 minutes later. The Perkins is dropped. Harrison and climbing. Harrison. 3 minutes later. Battle, Enforcer, aggression. There's a fight. And it's going to be Arbor and Barry. No big loss. You know, they fight on Ron Climby. Battle, another fight. Paradise and Baird are going toe to toe. Makes it 3-2 for the oil drops. What a crazy first period. Minnesota thought they were good, but then Edmonton scored 3 in a row. 4 more minutes. Smith. Kill the zone on Baird and Wool. Got it. Word. Okay. Edmonton penalty on Perkins. Minnesota Jets. Antonovich. Stopped by Norris. Antonovich. Power play Chetsky or power play goal. Johnny Arbor. Well, you got to fight. He's now got a goal. Hampson and McMahon with the assists. Does Arbor have an assist or no? Nope. He needs an assist for the Gordie Howe hat trick. 2 minutes later, Mike Walton. No. I give this to Walton. Tom Gilmore. Gilmore girls. Looking from there to the wall. There for 2. Jet skiers. Power play goal. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shaker Walton. Shaker Walton. His 10th from Rick Smith and John Arbor. Hey, Arbor's got the Gordie Howe hat trick. They had a fight, then a goal, now an assist. Maybe these two goalies don't like the high power offense. Much later. Battle. Penalty by Gallant. McNeely and Baird cannot do something. Much later. Minnesota skiers. Bill Klatt. His 3rd from Rob Walton and Mike Walton. So the Walton boys do their job. I don't remember talking about Rob Walton. Empty net. Not happening. The Minnesota Fighting Saints coming into Edmonton and win 5-4. A very close game. Edmonton fails to capitalize. Mike Walton scoring twice for Minnesota. And an assist. So we will go ahead and do things for Saturday. So we're going to give you quick seasonal stuff. So Saturday, summary. So Chicago and New England look pretty good in the East. New Jersey and Quebec are fighting too. Toronto's got 14. Cleveland's got 11. Cleveland's struggling. The West, Minnesota, Houston, Edmonton, Vancouver. Well, Winnipeg's tied and LA sucks. 6 guys at 10 goals. Cam Newton of Chicago, 7-0 in the net. So he's looking pretty good. Don McLeod and Al Smith looking pretty good too. So yeah, Jim McLeod, 4.35. You rookie. Please. So we'll see what Newton comes up with for the fun times ahead. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond to do.